Ah, sir, you will join. I will send the meeting ID. Check it, sir. WhatsApp. You will join. I will give the host, sir. I already log in with the details. Do. Okay.
Hello everyone, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So let's wait for a couple of minutes and then we will start. Okay, then we'll start. How are you all? After a long time, I was joining this call. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So regularly only you people's only there in the call, sir? Or any new people's or do we still need to wait for someone to join the call?
No.
Only are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Then how are you all? How was the things? How is the new learnings was going?
It was good, sir.
Nice. What about others?
All good. Yeah.
Or else you guys are still in sleeping mode? No, right?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's get started. So far, you guys have learned a Python, statistics, some machine learning algorithms, and how we can do the model training and all these concepts, right? So these are, we can call this as a data science. Okay, so can anyone explain what is data science? From your words, I don't want any theoretical definition, nothing like that. I just need your what you guys have understood still so like so far. So as per your understanding, what is data science, how the flows works? What will be the data science flow? Means how you are going to work. Like whatever you guys have understanding, okay? So I don't need any exact answer and all, okay? It's just our discussions. Because
A collection of observations.
Mhm. Then basically like, okay, in this data science world, okay, somebody texted, okay, uh, uh, uh. We work on data to find or solve business problems. Exactly. How? How you are going to solve the business problems? Technically, I'm asking, and very technical, using Python, EDA visualization tool, and ML. Okay. So if you wants to use this Python, okay, and how you guys, you need a Python programming language from start to end. Then what are the process you guys are going to do if you have if you know Python, and if I provide some Python and as well as data and the problem statement, how you are going to proceed? Understanding the data, okay. What else? What else? Cleaning the data, okay. Come on, guys. And making some sense out of the data, okay. Okay, first I'll give some data. So then what you guys are going to do, you are guys just going to see the data, like how it looks and what is the shape of the data, what is the columns in these columns. Okay. After that, you guys are going to take the use cases. What is the use cases? And based on the use cases, you are going to check the data if it is a regression use cases or classification use cases or clustering use cases. Then you are going to taking a look on the data and just checking that what is the dependent column, what are the independent columns, what is the shape of your data frame, right? And then just you are cleaning the data, like missing value analysis or duplicate treatments, or else then outlier analysis or data distribution. These are the data cleaning or data pre-processing you are going to apply, right? Then again, it's a feature selection. Then what you are going to do? So based on the null values or correlations or outliers. So based on considering of all these points, you guys are going to removing some elements, removing some columns or you are going to remove some other independent columns as well, right? Then you are going to splitting the data as test and train, and then you are just holding some test data to test it, and you are pushing the train data to train the model, and you are going to use some algorithms and like tuning, hyperparameter tuning also you guys can do, and selecting a suitable best model for your prediction based on the several matrices, right? So just once the model is developed, okay, you guys are going to take that model and deploying it somewhere, and you are going to start predicting the outputs based on the user inputs in futures, right? This is what the flow. Anything I missed?
No, no.
Yeah. So this is the complete flow. So this is what about, if I say at this wordings, okay, taking the historical data and predicting the future. This is what the data sends, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So in the word, in the generation, we have another word is also, we you guys are hearing some other word as well. And the very continuously, what is that word? Along with the ML or DL. Along with the ML, you guys can add about a DL. Then AI, correct? What do you mean by DL?
Deep learning.
Yes, it's a deep learning. AI means artificial intelligence. So there is some difference between these three. Okay. ML is different, DL is different, AI is different. No. They have their own set of rules and own set of working data, right? Then ML and DL comes under AI. Yes. So these all things are not different. Okay. Each and everything is depending upon the on the same boundary. Okay, it should be there on the same boundary. So that boundary name we can call it as an AI. Okay, in like in the AI, so all these things come machine learning, deep learning, and our deep learning applications, our machine learning applications, our time series, everything comes under this AI. Okay, so let's see what is DL, what is deep learning first of all, what is the difference between these three, how it is going to work, what is the applications of this deep learning. Okay, these things we can going to learn. Okay, so let's get started. Before going to that, let me share my screen. Yeah, yeah. So can you guys can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me put this into presentation mode. Just a second. It's in a slideshow. Yeah, from the beginning. So what comes into your mind by seeing this picture?
Human brain.
It's a human brain. Okay, then
Neurons.
neurons. Okay, how important is this? Like for this neuron structure and all, how important for your brain?
Very much important.
If we don't have this neuron, what will happen?
Brain will not function.
That person will not be alive, right?
Correct.
If this neurons fails to or stops working, then it's a death sentence, right? So in the same way, if he wants to replicate, so the main overall the AI is nothing but just to replicate the human behavior into the machines, right? So how so for all the scientists, one thought which comes into the mind is how human things are working. Okay, if we see that, okay, we can see that. If you wants to write something, okay, we can write it. If you wants to move somewhere, yeah, we can go it. So if you want to think something, yeah, we can think it. So this all will be done through this neural network, these neurons, right? Like in the same way, why can't we build some neural network to the machines so that we can easily replicate the human behaviors to the machines, right? These things, these thoughts comes on a paper with the name of deep learning. Okay, so let's see here. That is what the deep learning. Here is the diagram with some neural network. Okay, you can consider that this is the brain. Okay, so and you can see the nodes. If we connect it together, you can call this as a deep learning. Deep learning, it's some deep. What is the meaning of deep? It's a going inside, right? Inside into that any of the topics or anything. It's just a deep. Like I can say it as, what is another name for deep? I don't find any good name for this one. Okay, deep learning. Let's see. Then before going into that, what is the difference between these three? Here you can see, so what I said, the boundary, we have a single boundary. So in that boundary itself, we have this artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the deep learning. What do you mean by? What do you mean by deep learning and machine learning? How it is differ? Okay, so let's say anyhow you guys have learned the ML method to learn from data or past experience, which automates analytical model building. Basically, these three things were come only because of automating all the process, all the possible process, right? So that wherever it is a repetitive process, wherever if you wants to reduce the human power, if you wants to reduce the human power with highest business rating, so there and all we can apply this sort of automation. Okay, so this is what automations, right? The thoughts will comes to reduce the human power. So if we reduce the human power, what will happen? So we can reduce the cost, right, for that business. So that machine learning also do the same thing. It is a method to learn from historical data. Okay, so the past data. So if we say that, yeah, if we say that the past input data set is 1010111 like that, then what happened? Prediction is 0. Why? Because the machine learning is already seen this pattern, approximate pattern. If it finds these kinds of pattern, it is easily going to say that it's a 1 or 0. The prediction is 1 or 0 or yes or no. Or what is the uniforming number in the regression, okay? Or if he wants to group together in the cluster, yeah, we can group together, right? In the same way, we can do that by using a machine learning algorithms. So what it is needed? We need an historical data. We need to train our model with the historical data. So what happens? The models, it gets trained with a historical pattern. And if it finds these kinds of pattern, this is going to predict the results. Okay. This is what ML. Then let's go for, anyhow, we are going for deep learning. Let's have a high level understanding of the deep learning. Deep learning is nothing but computation through multi-layer neural network and processing. Computation through multi-layer neural network and the processing. What happens if we are providing any sort of data? Okay, so some models are is already trained. Okay, some models are already trained with bulk amount of data. So we have ready models. We can use those models for predicting the results. What happened? All the things, all the nodes are connected together. Based on that nodes, based on that result, it's going to predict. Okay, this is for live inputs. Let's say in the deep learning, if we given a one good example is human count. Okay, so you guys have seen these kinds of applications wherever you go in the ATMs. Okay, I don't think so in your area also that feature is like installed or not. So in if you go to the ATMs, it is easily identifying how many persons were standing in the ATM hall. The rules is only one person should be there in that ATM hall. Like if it exceeded, so with the more than 1%. So we know that Python, yeah, if we have more than one person or more than two persons, so we should start alarming. We should start the alarm. So in that case, we need to identify it, right? So anyhow, in the ATM halls, we have CC cameras, right? So it is capturing that video continuously and passing it to that model. So in the model, what it is going? It is going to developing it. It is going to start recognizing the pattern. So based on that pattern, it is going to predicting, yeah, we have two humans or three human beings or four humans, like that. So if it is crossing a more than one human count, then it starts shouting. So like that kind of application we have. So we don't need any human to sit in front of the monitoring of the CC camera and saying that, yeah, come out from the hall. No, not like that. So it is completely automated in the recent days. That is the reason with the solution which is provided by deep learning. Is that clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Then this is what machine learning and deep learning. So in the machine learning, only you can use the historical data and start predicting your data. That's it, numerical data or small set of text data. But deep learning is having a neural network. Based on that neural network, it will start thinking and utilizing the power of neural network and giving the results. Okay. Then artificial intelligence. Okay, then what is artificial intelligence? To incorporate the human behavior and the intelligence to the machines or systems. At the very beginning, I explained the same thing is AI is nothing but to incorporate or to mimic the human behavior and the intelligence to the machines or systems. Okay, this is what AI. If you want to achieve this AI, it means to the human behaviors, we need to analyze, we need to understand this machine learning and deep learning perfectly, right? So anyhow, you know, like the for machine learning, okay, for machines, how it is going to train and how it is going to predict the results. But if we have any other data, like if continuously we are getting in a visual data or a text data or audio data, so how we can play with that, right? Basically the information in a different format. The information could be image or video or in the text or in the audio, right? What else? Information could be available with on different formats. So as of now, what I find, the images or videos or audios or text, right? What else? I think that's it, right? So our machines are our algorithms or our models should works best upon these input data sets. As of now, you guys have played with the tabular data, right? But now you guys are going to see some different set of data. So that data is also the tabular data only. So we are training with the same data, but the information is in the different format. Information is in the different format. So in this journey, we are going to showcase a very high level understanding of the deep learning, not completely. The reason because it's not a small topic. Okay, the applications of the deep learning is not the small one. Okay, so we are just giving a good idea of deep learning and we are giving some good example by building some models and the applications. Okay, so any questions on these differences? Okay, let me go for another slide. Come on. Then Can you guys can see this picture?
Yes, sir.
So this picture describes what is deep learning. Okay, just I'll give another 30 seconds time for you guys. Just analyze what is the difference between the machine learning and deep learning. So as of now, what I explained, it is in the pictorial representations. Okay, then you can start telling what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning in your words. Okay, the time starts now. Yep. Come on. Now tell me what is the difference between these two. It's okay. You can just unmute and you can just start chatting to that on that.
So feature extraction requires, humans to do that. In deep learning, it is done automatically by the compute. And second thing is there is more compute required in deep learning in comparison to machine learning.
Exactly. I love that point. What else? That's it. Only this difference you guys have observed, right? So here you have one image. Okay, car. That's the image of car. Just a second. Yeah, I'm back. So here we have an image of car. So if you want to identify whether it is a car or not by the machine, what is the procedure it is needed? The ultimately the input is car. The machine should predict whether it is a car or not. We are provided one image. So in that image, we know that we have a car on that image, but machine should predict whether it is a car or not. What is the process it is? What is the under what process it is going? First, we are doing some feature extraction, and then what we are doing, we are just doing in a classification, and we are using some classification algorithm and all these things and predicting that whether it is a car or not a car. Correct? What's happening with this deep learning? So feature extraction and classification is combined, and these two is taken care by the deep learning. So our neural network is capable to understand the pattern. So because already these deep learning models are already pre-trained. These are the pre-trained models with a big bulk data. So in that case, you no need to use any sort of feature extraction, nothing like that. But definitely deep learning needs a very good computational power. If we compare with a machine learning, if you want to use deep learning, it requires very good computational power. The deep learning models are uh, not ready to work with your GPUs, sorry, your CPUs. It requires GPUs. Okay, graphical processing unit it is needed. Central processing unit is not work. Okay, so machine learning, okay, it works, but if you are going with a GPU, you need some GPUs. Okay, so it means you cannot run it on the local. Okay. Why? Because it's a very big model. Those are not the small models. Those are very big models. The reason because it is the pre-trained models are developed within a very big, huge data. That's the reason it consumes a lot of computational power, a lot more computational power.
So Vikrant, one question here. I mean, which one takes more time to give the output? The machine learning or the deep learning?
Deep learning only.
Will take more time.
Yeah, it's still taken a good time because if like prediction, okay, prediction to provide a prediction, it's not a matter. Okay, while it's taking a good amount of time for training the model, that is deep learning, because this is not simple, right? So whatever the inputs which you are providing within a deep learning, those are the text and images. Definitely it will taken a hard time for predicting.
Okay.
But in the machine learning, you cannot do the prediction for images or text, nothing like that. So you should use deep learning models only.
Well, is ChatGPT an example of this deep learning?
ChatGPT is the best example for generative AI.
Okay.
Okay, so ChatGPT is is like artificial intelligence, right? It includes all this machine learning, deep learning, all these things. Okay, that is large language models. That's what I said in the very beginning. Deep learning is not a small concept to explain all the things. Nearly, if you wants to explain all the concepts of deep learning, nearly it will take in a more than 6 months of time. To understand you guys also, it takes nearly years of time. Okay, so that's what we are just going to give a good idea and good planning of that. Then maybe you can kickstart your career on the deep learning as well, if you wants to go. Okay, that's what it is. Deep learning is a type of machine learning and artificial intelligence that teaches computers to process the data in a way that is inspired by the human brain. Deep learning models can recognize complex patterns in pictures, text, sounds, and other data to process accurate insights and predictions. Okay, so far so clear? Okay, then let's go more on to the deep learning. It is based on artificial neural network, also known as deep neural network. So at the very beginning, I'm saying the same word, that is ANN, that is artificial neural network. That is, these neural networks are inspired by the structure and functions of the human brains, biological neurons, and they are designed to learn from large amount of data. Okay, so nowadays you no need to worry about model building and all the deep learning model buildings. The reason because it needs a lot of data, big data, like images and text. So in the market, we can't easily get these kinds of data, like images or videos. We cannot get easily, right? So that what happened? So we have a different large language models, like that is we can easily call it as an LLMs. So so ChatGPT is built upon this LLMs only. Okay, these are the language models. Those models are trained with a very big word corpus. So we can say it as it is trained with all the Wikipedia's data of Google, all the newspapers like BBC newspapers of this text. So it is considered all this set of big data. So think about that model, how big it is. What is how much of computational power it takes, right? So just you can imagine which suits for your model training. Like if you have a simple use cases, just go with the machine learning. If you want to generate something, generative AI is nothing but it should generate something. What it should generate? It should generate some information in form of text, images, or audio, anything it should produce. So that is what this is what we can call it as a generative AI. So very good models for generative AI is always it's LLMs, large language models. So here is also the same thing. Here is the core concept of large language models, how they build. That is based on the ANNs, that is artificial neural network. As I already mentioned, these things are inspired by our human brain or human structure or human functionality. Okay, so I think you guys have you gotten a good idea on what is how the deep learning models will capable to handle this pattern. The reason because this ANNs. Okay, the key characteristics of deep learning is the use of deep neural network, which have multiple layers of interconnected nodes. These networks can learn complex representations of the data by discovering historical pattern and features in the data. See, because of these interconnected nodes, you can train the big word corpus or big image data or whatever. Okay, historical data, you guys can train it. Okay, no need any feature extraction. That is the reason because it is only interconnected, right? So you don't need any feature extraction and all. So you can just pass the data into that model and you can just start training that model and start predicting. DE is smart always. Okay, so deep learning algorithms can automatically learn and improve from data without the need for manual feature engineering. This is what I told, right? Feature extraction. You don't need anything. It can automatically improve the performance based on the data which you guys are providing. If you are provided a small set of data and you guys are using a deep learning model, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, then train the deep neural network typically requires a train the deep neural network typically requires a large amount of the data and computational resources. However, the availability of cloud computing and the development of specialized hardware such as graphical processing unit, that is GPUs, is needed, has made it easier to train the deep neural network. So here is the requirement. So in the third point I just mentioned, the requirement of the deep learning models if you wants to play with the deep learning. Okay, typically requires a large amount of the data. If it is running within a large amount of data, you need a good computational resources, and the available cloud computing is enough. Okay, if we are going within a cloud computing like AWS or GCP or Azure, so there you can enable the GPUs and we can use that resources you have to consume for deep learning models. This is what the requirement. Here only in these 3 points only you will get a good interview questions. Okay, cool. Is so far so clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then let's go much deeper into the same. I mentioned it. Deep learnings are developed on artificial neural network. How it works. So here you can see this picture, right? So you can easily identify what is the structure of ANN, how it works. You can easily say that, yeah, input layer, hidden layers, and output layers. So you are passing the input, computing in the hidden layer, and going into the output, right? So always it will be the same. See here what happened. The same things happened here as well. ANN are built on the principle of the structure and operations of human neuron. It is also known as neural network or neural nets. You know, right? Nets, neural nets. So an artificial neural network's input layer, which is the first layer. So I'm talking about this input layer. So This will receive the input from the external sources and passes it on to the hidden layer, and which is the second layer. So this is just taking that input, whatever you guys are providing, and passing it to that hidden layer. Okay. Then second one, each neural in the hidden layer gets the information from the neuron in the previous layer. The hidden layer is responsible to captures the input and processing the input from the input layer. That is the responsibility of this hidden layers. And it is anyhow connected with a one-on-one, right? So it is started recognizing that pattern in all the nodes and start predicting it as an output. Okay, artificial neurals, also known as units, are found in artificial neural networks. The whole artificial neural network is composed of these artificial neurals, which are arranged in the series of layers. Okay, this is the simple structure which our ANN follows. Okay, based on this principle only, the deep learning models works. We can't show all these things in coding or nothing, coding or in any way. It's just an underlying principle of this deep learning. How it works based on the ANN, how that ANN, what is the inspiration or what is the principle of this ANNs, that is human neural schema, and what are the layers which we can find, input, hidden layers and output layers. What is the responsible of each layers? You can just start explaining it. Okay. Anything else? Okay, cool. Then types of neural networks. What are the types of neural network? So deep learning models are able to automatically learn features from the data, right? This is what we know. We don't need any human interaction, which makes them well suited for the tasks such as image recognition, speech recognition, and natural language processing. The most widely used architectures in the deep learning are feed-forward neural network, convolutional neural networks, and recurrent neural networks. So maybe you might heard of these names in future multiple times. That is CNNs, RNNs, and feed-forward networks. Okay, so just start analyzing it. If we are going with an image recognitions, okay, what is the input for this? Input for this is images. If we are going with a speech recognition, what is the input for this? It's an audio. Audio is the input for this. If we are going with a natural language processing, what is the input for this? The text. The text is the input for this NLP, right? So if you want to play with this sort of application, we should know about this underlying concepts of the CNNs, RNNs. This you can call it as an FNNs, feed neural networks. So which model or which sort of networks we need to use for these inputs, that we have to identify, right? Let's go into that. Very firstly, feed forward neural networks. Okay, so these are the simplest type of ANNs. This is a basic type, we can call it as. This is not much complex, and it's a very simple one within a linear flow of information through the network. So FNNs have been widely used for the tasks such as image classification, speech recognition, and the natural language processing. Basically, this is a basic model, right? This will contains all the features and all the applications of all the different type of inputs. So see here, it can be work for images, audios and videos, and the text as well, right? So if you wants to go with this sort of application, and if you wants to go with a very basic model, you can select this FNNs, this network, you can select it. Then CNNs, convolutional neural networks, are specially designed for images and video tasks. So CNNs are able to automatically learn features from images, which makes them well suited for the task such as image classification, object detection, and image segmentations. So these are the applications we can say that. So why did, like, if you have in a feed neural network, right? So why we need this convolutional neural network and recurrent neural network? So the reason is simple. Feed forward neural network contains all the features within a basic informations, within a basic features. Okay. But if you wants to go deep into that any sort of these inputs, right? So we need to use some other neural network, because otherwise the computational power or resources is going to be high, and the execution time and consuming time is also going to be high. That is the reason. So we have another dedicated networks for different formats. Like in the market, only we have three inputs: text, images or videos, or audios. Okay. So for images, it is fixed. Convolutional neural networks are the only solution for images or video sort of inputs. Okay. For RNNs, let's see. RNNs are the type of neural network that is able to process the sequential data such as time series and natural languages. So here you can see the word appears as natural language. If it is natural language, means it's a text, right? So RNNs are mostly dedicated for text inputs, able to maintain an external state that captures information about the previous input, which makes them well suited for the tasks such as speech recognition and natural language processing and language translations, right? So here it works with language, right? That text. If the text come with an audio, then that also works. That's why we have a dedicated network, that is RNNs. Only the deep learning only be available to process these sort of data. These three formats of data. So out of these three formats, images and videos are comes under CNNs, audios and the text will comes under RNNs. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I have another question. So what is the applications of deep learning? What is the application of deep learning? Don't know?
It can be used in cameras and all to recognize, like any suspected, like for crime related or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Because,
So
yeah,
basically, like deep learning applications are this one: computer visions and natural language processing. Basically, whatever the example you have seen, you might seen in your live day-to-day lives. So those will comes under either one of these section. So you told it right, like we have an install the cameras, and if you want to recognize the some crime activities and all, so those are all comes under computer visions. And if you are going with a text and all, will comes under the natural language processing. Okay, so let's go deep dive into this computer vision and NLP in our next class. So until that time, you can just blogging. You can just start blogging on your favorite web IDs on what is deep learning, what is the application, and how much important it is by your own. The reason, because so each and everything we cannot explain, we can show the direction on that. Okay, start blogging on the web. What is deep learning? If you don't have any a single clue what is deep learning, so I think after this class you may have a good idea of what is deep learning at least. But with your interest, start blogging it. What is deep learning? How it starts working, and what is the impact of this deep learning in the business? Start thinking about in that level. Then only you might get a good interest and good research interest. I'll say that it's a researching interest. It's a researching topic. It is not stick to any one platform. It is not stick to any one plate. Okay, so it's a researching topic. Start getting interesting on these parts. Okay, so tomorrow I'll take the session on the same time, and I'll continue with these two applications, and we will discuss what are the applications we can see in our day-to-day lives. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, by saying that, I'll stop sharing my screen. So if you have any other questions, please go ahead. Otherwise, we'll stop the class and we'll continue with that another session. Okay. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.